Hi everyone, it's Jen from Mind's Eye, and today on B&B we're going to talk about how re and rent and raw and da and do and d and det and d are all forms of getting it done as a magician. So when it comes to something a little bit darker, especially when it comes to the occult, that you just can't really understand how far it has to go. But as we were talking about that every action there is an equal and opposite reaction that you have to learn how to counteract. And it has to do with physics and inertia and chemistry and mathematics and elements. That when you encounter something so hard that you can't understand how, like, you have to be so hard that you have to be aware that you have to sit in a form, that you have to be at your like clearest self. You have to be in your best of self, clear, sound mind, nothing upon, nothing within, that you already are coming in very as psychic already, because as a magician, you have to be known. You've already had a show. You have to be aware, and people are aware of you, that you can do it with sobriety. It's not something that you take an illegal substance and all of a sudden you can do a trick or two. It really is a long time. They have to be psychic for so long and proven psychic, almost down to a millisecond on executing everything out. Hi, Space Cowboy. So when I see this, and I actually say, when we're getting down to the point of where you have to do a lot of things, you have to say, when you're approaching your actual task and you have everything ready, because you already know, because you should be able to feel the energy, you're gauging everything. Then you approach it. Then when you sit and you execute it out, you're constantly reevaluating everything because you just can't even see it coming. It's like that black swan event that you can't even see it. We're sitting there and you have to do. So, let's talk about the rationale of a curse out. So, one of the topics that actually came on YouTube was about a coven that actually hexed the moon. And that was around 2020, around COVID. And when this happened, you just couldn't understand why someone would actually do this. But in reality, it was almost like a containment order, COVID lockdown. It was something that people couldn't do. And yes, I'll get to your question, Space Cowboy, as soon as I can. I can get this out. But basically, all you need to know is that you sit there and you say, I mean, I might be a little ill also. I might be a little ill. But when you look at it, everyone was haywire. There was so much confusion that I could see the cause and effect of someone actually doing that. So when I see it, I have to say it wasn't the best decision because I don't know what moon they hexed. I don't know what sign they did. I don't know how it all did a clear out. But basically, when you see it and they do a hex, you need to know what is the counteract to stop it, to block it, and to contain it and study and like quickly get it out of the area, because you can't even understand what kind of criminal activity it could kick up or what else is it doing. I mean, this was really a hot topic. So as I could see it, if what I would have done and what I've done for myself in my own area, as far as that whole situation about hexing the moon, it really was containment in my house, a protect. And it's literally almost a clearing out still, because it had such a compromise of energy that it's almost like a gray, a greenish at times. If you can read auras, it's very unpredictable. It's almost a fog, opaque. It's very horizontal on a plane. It's below the eyes on how it rides out. So I would say that is more raw, but that's more Deutalania. And that is my experience from studying it for so long. That Deutalania is more of Indian, like a type of deity causing an uptick. So that's usually pretty easy. So, as let's go to this question right here. So, today, Space Cowboy, you actually are in the off position, which does happen, and it is a little, and I feel like you're just drained. You're burnt out and drained. So, as a natural defense, you're in the off position, but I see next week you're much better, like you're stable and actually climbing to where you need to be. Seeing if there's anything else. You've done a lot. You've done a lot in a 3 to 4 years of trying to get something done to where you're like, I'm ready to like level up. I'm ready to do all these things. But there was like still steps, but you're working really hard to get it. And that's all you need to know. Your soul is good, but it has been hurt a lot, a lot. But I see you actually doing much better in a 1518. That will mean something in a 1518. Doing much better in a 1518 instead of a 3464. All right. So as I'm reading that, as we said, like everything is affecting it. So basically, all you need to know is that upon a look, you're fine. You're like, I'm fine. I'm good. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. It really is like that day. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. That's all you need to know. It's just all of a sudden right there. So, and that's how it is. And I always loop it right back into the regular conversation, into the show. And it really goes into where this trickery of magic that has come through, like we were talking about the hexing of the moon, like it actually potentially brought a lot of nastiness to other people that should have showed up in their life again, potentially. So basically all you need to know, you're a little suspicious, but it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So when it comes to this, usually something like that, it would be more of the occult, like that energy of the hexing of the moon to do a containment, to a block, to a lock. But this was no, like, it's just like a free flowing riding out, and you just can't get rid of it. I do see by in April, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. It's flowing a little bit harder because of the winter and the crosswinds and whatever else is just flowing through society right now. It really is a hot topic. So when I see it, just as a magician, I'm just going to do exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and it literally is just taking care of my area. But if it is a calling upon, it's going to be like an evaluation of aura, looking at and cleansing and clearing and sitting down in what is real and doing actual reading through, and being just as an LPN, still as a license. It's are you following diet? Are you following prescriptions? Are you doing anything like that? Because it really does affect your energy. So as we look at this at the occult, and as it comes through, and just living a daily life as a um, physician or anything like that, because that was a hot topic, that you have to say that you have to back up and you have to back out, because there was one that's a Trinity Health. So when you have this issue out here in Connecticut with Trinity, what kind of magic and working was that? Because all of a sudden everything's outsourced. So that was actually one of the things, because magicians can do Reiki, but you need a certificate. You need a piece of paper for everything. That's all you need to know. So when I actually look at this and I actually see it, I have to look at everything and I have to look at it and say, there's something about this. Why is a big community hospital going to have outsourcing on their employees? What kind of trickery came through there? So let's actually take a look. I'd have to say a little bit harder of a deck, and it's going to be Tarot Sacred Kingdoms. Here we go. What's going on with Trinity Health? Wishes. It's a star. This was something wished for. This was something that they wanted. This is King of Cups. This was something that was well thought of. It was well in alignment. It was well attuned. It was well sitting balanced and known here out in Hartford. The Three of Swords, this really hurts a lot of people when it comes through. The Knight of Wands, it came in really harsh and really quick, like fire, and it was sat on the table. And then when I see this and I see the King of Swords in reverse, it's an ill contract. Like they've been saying, it's a really ill contract. So Knight of Pentacles, it is too young of an offer on the table. It did come in the winter. It's really meant for spring, but it's too hard pressed for like 1 to 2 years. When I see Four of Swords, I actually see that it does put things at rest pretty soon. That you have to say that the Ten of Pentacles looks through it and says it's going to cause disrupt in everything, in finances to retirements with that contract on outsourcing. So the Knight of Cups, it really was like this emotional offer on the table that was just like a fly by the night, by the seam of the pants. And I hate to say that the Eight of Cups, I'm trying to be gentle right now, that the Eight of Cups looks and says, just don't even go there. Just don't even go there. All right, the Five of Swords, don't even see it coming. Don't even see it coming. This Five of Swords is a block. I can't even see it. I have to say, you're going to have to wait for a few more days to see what happens with that community hospital. This is the Nine of Pentacles. It wasn't thought out on a good road. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see what else. So when I say they do feel like some sort of like witchery came through Trinity Health, and like somebody worked magic in a wrong way. And I have to agree with that type of everything, that you just can't understand it. That you have to believe that as I'm looking at it, I have to say something was maybe burnt, but I don't really see it. I really don't. I feel like it's just something that just worked out. It's really hard to explain without being interrupting any type of investigation about that. That's all you need to know. As it plays out, I'm looking about and I'm seeing how it all is affecting everything. It really is hard. So, what else do we need to know about Be It Be? Be It Be is really something of like this type of being yourself, per se, but Be It Be really means like almost a type of sting of how you can be yourself, and it stings, but also too, you know, studying the occult, studying witchcraft, studying magic, studying all these things and how we've been doing it. It's just as simple as stirring your tea a certain way. It was everything that was so simple to blowing out the candles of superstition that we've been doing these things for years and eons that we had to say like maybe I should go back to having a cup of coffee at 8 in the morning and using my stuff because it works and getting back into a habit again and having all of it. So again, another question. uh what does she still think about you? Let me see. She thinks everything is grand right now, but everything is a think and a LOS. I don't know what that means for you, but you'll understand that that's all. I usually don't dig. I usually don't dig. And what about if you're doing okay? If you're doing okay, that's all. So when I actually look deeper into it really starts thinking like all of these personal habits, you actually have to say that everything is fine when you actually establish a routine, that you worked your magic and your energy throughout the day and up to the point of lighting a candle, that you actually dispersed the energy and you didn't even know it. So when I see this, you have to say, having a back to baseline of everything that you do in a daily life that you just can't even see it actually play out until it's right there. It could be if you feel it. If you feel it. I feel like that chance comes in a March. So when I see this for you, that question that you do care, and caring comes from, like what we've been talking about, almost an established routine, and you get into this with them, that it literally it like something comes in a march for you and another person. That's all you need to know. So when you see it, you can't even be it throughout the day. So when you actually have like this good routine and all of a sudden you get a piece of mail that's like disgusting, or you get called into the office and you're like, I don't know what I did, and it plays out, you have to say, for some they're like, no, this is criminal because I already know what's going on. I'm adherent to a routine. Or some are like, I just don't understand why this happened because I don't know what I said. Or I wasn't aware that it was a policy and procedure. I wasn't educated on it or anything like that. So, what kind of magic is that? It really does have a lot of things of everything that it should be as a cause and effect to positive and negative energy and colliding. And that is usually even harder to go through. So when I see this and I see, it is just a continuance on what kind of magic. So let's actually go into the discussion of how about around COVID, we were having the discussion about satanical workings, We are having the discussion of black magic. We are having the discussion of movements. And then having the discussion of how everything goes. And then how it went into really nastiness about cannibalism. So when we had to say it, we had to say, was this grandiose thoughts? Or what was this energy? You just couldn't understand it. But I have to say that some things were true and some things were not. They just weren't really vetted as well as we thought. It is still a continuance on. I mean, we still have the issue with, MK Ultra discussion up to conspiracy theory. That is part of magic, and especially when it comes down to psyop. So when we actually go through it and we actually look through it, then you have to say that you just can't even do it at all. Do it at all. So when I look at this, Berkana, there's like this birth of something coming through, and it really is nasty. And it's about something like torching something. It's like it's caught and torched. You're not to know what is caught and what is torched. But basically, when you see this, it has a lot of strength. That's why there is a little bit more talking of navigating timelines. So it's like when you sit there and you try to navigate a timeline, and then all of a sudden it's a count out, you can't even believe how fast it went. Righto, it's the flow of the energy. It is the flow of the energy. So when I see this and I see ice, it's not the actual federal agency. It means a freeze. This flowing causes a freeze all of a sudden. Now, I have to say, taking the incident, and God rest their souls, on the Potomac today, that type of energy is more of a black slam. And that's all you need to know. So let's look at it. Is this what we were talking about? This ceiling effect of falling down of a golden egg and a pentacle, and something coming through about well and containment to the duns. Because when I see this and I see lagu, it's a type of flow of water that's a muck water. Let's look. When I'm looking at this as the topics that be, you can't even do. You just can't even do. Here it is. All you need to know is that these two cards confirm it. It's the Wheel of Fortune and it's the Chariot. This Wheel of Fortune, as it is, it means that it was something about, you would say, containment, but really it was about luck. It was a propel forward. And the positives, it's a positive in a sense that it propelled something forward. What else do we need to know? We're kind of breaking it up. So I'm just doing this, and I'm just kind of flicking at the energy, just thinking about it, because it's a little sticky tonight, to the point where I feel it's like feeling like extra hydration, needing extra hydration. All right. There we go. What do you want us to know, energy? Right now, what do you need us to know about this ceiling effect, about this drop effect? False start is a false start. Chaos, the Tower in reverse. This is like the Ten of Swords, the finality of like relief and something. And when I'm looking at this is like an incoming force with that sealing effect, like we talked about. It was the golden egg. It was a key. It was a lock. It was black slate, like when you look at your brakes or your rotors and how it's smooth with its ridges all through. And when it came through, it came right down just like that. This is law enforcement, this is legal, this is judicial, this is military, the King of Swords, coming right down from the sky. And there's no pun intended. This is after effect coming through. Next, coming back down, like the cards are falling, is the Queen of Cups. Right down. Just sheer hard intuition. Two cards coming out once. This is nasty masculine energy coming through and it's like alleviation from struggle coming right down and almost like coming right down like this and saying, no, you're not doing it. I'm seeing that by a March 20th. This is railroad effect. Now, as I growing up in law enforcement and in military, railroad effect is so nasty with criminal activity when you think about it. Railroad effect is a real, like a movie real effect. And it's such a everyone's like, containment issue. This is a containment issue. This is a containment issue. It's not a containment issue. This is literally something like you actually have to talk about it in the media. You actually, like, people all of a sudden, like the Freedom of Information Act breaks right open all of a sudden. And it like people actually start talking about what the heck is going on. Let's get it out. Railroad effect is when you actually have to sit and look at it like railroad tracks, like you come upon a scene or an event or anything like that, or you're trying to figure something out and you put yourself there and you're looking at it and you're like the spokes, the nails, the iron, you're looking at it and you're seeing the man like up in the 20s and 30s, the Empire State, and they are literally in the scaffolding, like nailing it down. This is something like 9/11. The King of Pentacles, and this is not fear mongering or warmongering. This is what I see as a magician, as a psychic. It is King of Pentacles, greed, absolute greed. When I see this, it's so unhappy, but it's wishes fulfilled. Like I made it known, I'm making it known. Whoever like dropped it and like unlocked it, it comes in as this like offer, like a devil's advocate, and it's like, look at all these options. Look at all these options. There's no getting together or working together. It literally comes in and it's going to have nastiness. I don't see presidency. I don't see terms. I do see a country. I do see it like around the back. Like I was talking with Abraham Lincoln, and there was something about John Wilkes Booth. And there was a ritual of drinking tea where it was like the bundling bags from the movie The Patriot, and they had ink, but they had black reloading powder. It's recklessness, though. Absolute recklessness. This is big judicial coming in on this incident. So with that, it is a cause of like a halt stop of charging in haste. This is like hard looking into it. You just can't even understand. And that is how nasty it is when the occult and like whatever is like breaking apart. on whatever is coming through, because it comes in so hard that you can't even understand it at all. So when you actually see it, you can't even be it at all. And it's like a rhyming tune, and it feels like you actually have to orchestrate something to the highest degree of none. There was something about none. It was something about TikTok. It was something about selling oneself. It was something about this. So when I look at it as my daily practice, so usually like it was going to be almost what I projected out, almost 45 days of twice a week and looking deep and hard of what's really going on and why can't I always see past my nose as a psychic, because that's not usually like me, that I actually have to look at it and say, this might be a 3 month straight of a continuous. And that's all I need to know. And that's all I feel. But I feel each day it's a listening carefully and watching everything about your life a little bit more closer. So, with that being said, it was a little bit rough. Like I said, I'm not fear mongering, I'm not warmongering, but it came loose. And that just seems to be how it is each episode every night. Something is letting loose. So, with that being said, any questions or concerns, leave a comment or an email. A like and a share is greatly appreciated. Going back to the rest of the questions, she does have feelings for you, Space Cowboy. I don't see focusing too much on romantic right now. I do see that there's a lot that needs to be done right now because it's really harsh. It's something about out the back, to the back, be the back, because you can't even see it coming. All of a sudden, you just can't even see it coming, and it's right there. And like I said, it's in a March. So, with that being said, that's all you need to know. I can't really comment on that. So, we will talk to you next week. So, just to leave politely, we'll talk to you next week. Have a good night, everyone, and take care.